I'll be back again in another tutorial of our Python series, and in this tutorial we are going to look about Python data types. This is our major theme today. Is it okay? Yeah, in the previous tutorial these are some of the things that we wrote. We studied about variables and how to declare them, how to use them, and other stuff concerning variables. Now today we are going to look about data types. So let us create a new Python file, and we name it data types. Okay, so after creating our new Python file, let me create a multi-line string that we are going to use. So that's our multi-line string. Okay, yeah, so in today's tutorial we are gonna look about Python data types. Python data types. So in the previous tutorial we learned about variables. Okay, so variables, there is a way that they are connected to data types, as we are going to see in this tutorial. Okay, yeah, and I want to assure you that in programming, a data type is an important concept. Okay, yeah, let me even write it here. It's an important concept. You may ask yourself, why is it an important concept? But don't worry, we are gonna see the solution in the coming tutorials. Okay, and in this very tutorial at the end, just stay tuned and watch. Yeah, now we learned about variables previously in our previous tutorial, and we saw that they are capable of storing data of different types, and those different types can do different things. Okay, yeah, now Python provides various standard data types that define the storage method on each of themselves. It provides various standard data types. What's wrong with here? Standard. Okay, yeah, standard data types that defined the storage method on each of themselves. Many people in programming, and especially many of them in Python programming, when they're talking about data types, they don't specify them. For example, they talk about strings and floats, booleans, and they stop there. But the question is, what are the categories of these data types? Yeah, we are going to look at the categories of these data types. Categories of data types. Okay, now data types, first of all, they are classified and we have the first category, it's by text, and another category we have by number, or one can say numeric. Variables are also categorized under sequence. And others are categorized under mapping, as we are going to look at them. And other data types are categorized under Boolean. Others are categorized under set. Others are categorized under binary. Okay, binary. So all these are categories of data types. Okay, these are categories of data types. So first and foremost, we saw that they are categorized in text. We see that we have strings. So strings, or str, under numbers or numeric, we have integers, which is int. Okay, integers. In the string type, we have the string, and this is an example of it. And if I come back under the numeric or numbers, we have integers. Okay, without integers, apart from integers, we also have floats, and apart from floats, we also have a complex. So what are the examples of these? A float, this is an example of a float. A float is any decimal number, okay? A float, for example, if I write 2.89, this is a float. And if I write an integer, it's a whole number. Let me say 3. That's an integer, it's a whole number. Now a complex, it's a number. For example, if I write 3j, this is a complex, okay? We shall study more about complex in the coming tutorials. And if you want to prove this, as I told you in the past, if you want to prove that this is a float, this is an integer, and this is a complex, just use the type built-in function in Python of string. Okay, so here we have our string, which is here. Okay, if I print its type, I'll surely see that it is a what? It's a string. Okay, this is the last code. I need to right click inside here, then I run. We see that it's a string here. Okay, and if I print the type of a float, I'll see that it is a float for sure. It's under the class of floats. Okay, and our float is here that I'm printing, which is 2.89. So this 3, it's an integer, and if I want to prove that surely it's an integer, I print out the type of this variable. Okay, then I'll get that it's an integer, and this is a complex. Under the number classes, we have integers, we have floats, and we have complex. But you also have sequence. Data types are also classified in the sequence format, and in the sequence format we have lists, and this is the first thing. Okay, second of it, under the sequence format we have tuples, and lastly under the sequence format we have range. Okay, if you want to create a list, let me say I want to create a list of people, is equals to, we just use these square brackets. Okay, square brackets, they are the brackets that create lists. Okay, so if I print here, okay, if I write in the list of people, and the first person I've put Moses, the first person is Moses, the second person is Eric, and the third person is Esther. We can see that this is a list of people, and if I want to prove that surely this one is a list, I print the type of people. If I print the type of people, I will see that this is a list. Okay, so we can prove that this one is a list. Now, apart from the list, under the sequence data types, we have tuples. Okay, and to create tuples, we use curly brackets. If I create again people, but in this case round, instead of using square brackets, if I use curly brackets, this turns out to be a what? A tuple. Okay, yeah, that is it. This turns out to be a tuple, and now this informs us that this is now okay. We can't use two names, two variables. Let me make here people 1. This one is a list at first because I'm using square brackets, and this one is a tuple because I'm using curly brackets. That's the one of the major differences between lists and tuples, and other differences will be seen in the tutorial that are gonna be taught in the next hour. And another thing with tuples are immutable, whereas lists are mutable. Okay, yeah, and the last data type that we have under sequence, we have range. Okay, and this range it's used to print the numbers from the given starting index to the end given index. Okay, so if I wanted to describe this range function, this range built-in data type, this is used with the for loops. I can put a for loop, and for I in range of for I in a range of 10, then I can print those values under I can print I. Okay, yeah, so I will be all those values from 0 up to 9. They don't include 10 itself. Okay, yeah, so that's the use of range, and this is another data type under the sequence format. Okay, as we shall look at more in the coming episodes, just stay tuned. Okay, now we have also mapping. Under the mapping category, we have what we call dictionary. A dictionary is under the mapping category. Okay, and the dictionary is created with the curly brackets. Curly brackets notify us about a dictionary. And also under boolean we have a bool. Okay, and the bool we have there are two types of bools specifically. There is no any other bool, and the bool we have true and false. You need to consider capitalizing at the first letter. Okay, because if I use here false of small f, this is another thing. Okay, so you need to use a capital F. We saw in our first episode that Python is case sensitive. Okay, yeah, so also we can categorize data types under sets, and under the set category we have a set itself. And lastly, under binary, we have a bytes. We have a byte array. I don't know whether this is the SP. Yeah, we have byte array and many others. Okay, thank you so much. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel.